The next article is also from the Des Moines Register. This is a Tuesday, March 22nd edition. Battles in D.C. put aid for Iowa in peril. Officials say that key programs could be sunk just as cities and counties are climbing out of the recession. Millions of dollars that pour into Iowa every year to help fight blight and speed flood protection projects and street improvements are at risk of deep cuts as Congress battles over the federal budget and the national debt. This continues on the interior. This is the Des Moines River as it looks from the Locust Street Bridge. This is downtown Des Moines. That's the YMCA. I believe that's Walnut. That's Wells Fargo Arena. This is City Hall. This is a little park in front of City Hall. In the distance, you see the Iowa State Capitol. This is a very important area of Des Moines. The program, and this is CDBG, the program has also been heavily relied on to improve flood protection. Nearly $900 million in block grant funding has been steered to Iowa to aid recovery since the 2008 floods, paying for property buyouts, levee and sewer improvements, and housing construction, among other programs in Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Des Moines, and other cities. And so flooding and repairing our levees and boosting our infrastructure are all very important. And so we want to pay attention to what's happening in Washington at the federal level, because it does affect what we're capable of doing at the local level to improve our safety and our environment and the infrastructure in the Des Moines area. Debate on economic development bill, likely this week, is in the same edition of the Des Moines Register. And you can see the headline right there. The Iowa House is expected on Wednesday to debate a major reorganization of the state's economic development efforts, including creation of a nonprofit group that would operate without the same public scrutiny as typical government bodies. The Economic Development Corporation would be charged with receiving and distributing money from both taxpayer and private sources to be used to further economic development. It's part of a plan to scrap the state's current Department of Economic Development and restructure it as a public-private entity. The corporation would not be considered a state agency and would not have to comply with requirements such as Iowa's open records law. The bill reflects Governor Terry Branstad's campaign pledge to reform the state's economic development department, which he called scandal-ridden, following an audit that found misuse of taxpayer money in an incentive program for movie makers. The proposed public-private entity would increase flexibility and incorporate a customer service mentality so Iowa can make the sale to keep or create jobs, he said when unveiling the idea last year. And I will say this, that the problem with that public-private partnership is transparency and then the public access to audit the finances and see exactly how their tax money is being used. It would be difficult with this program, this new proposal. The thing with the previous iteration, the Iowa Department of Economic Development, was that there was an audit that did reveal discrepancies. So that system actually did work. With this new system, if there is a discrepancy, it would be harder to uncover. So that's the other side of that proposal. Crisis seen as producing little long-term harm. We switched right away from local issues back to the international stage. Japan. This is coming from also the March 22nd edition of the Des Moines Register. Japan fits profile of nations that have rebounded. The Japanese economy has been staggered by an earthquake, a tsunami, and a nuclear crisis, but history suggests that it will bounce back with no lasting damage. Wealthier countries with stable governments are especially suited to benefit from reconstruction after a natural disaster. So are countries with vast international trade and those that can easily raise money. Reconstruction projects contribute to growth by putting people to work. Economies also benefit as damaged roads, ports, buildings, and equipment are replaced. Typically, they are replaced with more efficient structures that help expand the nation's productivity and growth. So we can actually take that back away from the international arena back to Des Moines and then come up with the assessment that if Reconstruction would assist eventually assist Japan's economic standing by making it a stronger, faster Japan, that possibly the same thing could happen in Des Moines metro area. Infrastructure is always key. In the aftermath of the nuclear crisis, Japan also stands to benefit from research and development projects designed to find alternative energy and reduce its dependence on nuclear energy and imported oil. This is according to Reinhard Matschler, an economist at Austria's International Institute for Applied Systems Analysis. We also have a very interesting headline from the Friday, March 25th Des Moines Register. How safe are nearby plants? That question because Duane Arnold Energy Center, Iowa's only nuclear plant, is a General Electric boiling water reactor. It's the same type of reactor as some in Japan that were at risk of meltdown. U.S. plants, including Duane Arnold, are built to withstand more than the maximum earthquake expected in their area. In addition, the Commission has required upgrades in the boiling water reactors to improve safety. This is the reactor, Duane Arnold. Other plants in or near Iowa have been cited for less serious problems records show. They include Next, Era, Energy's Duane Arnold Energy Center near Palo, Nebraska Public Power District's Cooper Station near Brownville, Exelon Corporation's Quad Cities plant near Cordova, Illinois. The disaster in Japan has also renewed debate in Iowa and across the United States over whether more nuclear power plants should be built and whether those that now exist are likely to have similar failures. Iowa is in a low-risk earthquake area and doesn't have tsunamis. We do have flooding, though. Should the power lines and generations all fail, every plant has the ability to run its systems and batteries for hours while another generator is brought in or power lines are repaired. And we have tornadoes. The Duane Arnold plant in Palo was issued 4 notices of violation with no fines between 2006 and 2009. The violations involved a diesel generator problem, a deficiency in drills and planning, failure to complete a checklist before moving fuel bundles, and failing to properly notify health personnel.